Hey guys, I'm answering a question today that one of you had asked, which is a phenomenal question, by the way. This is in regards to tracking your calories versus not. I'm going to break it down a little bit further and then go through my suggestions for you here. So the question is, should I be tracking my calories and my macros, or should I be just trying to eat healthy? It's like there's one or the other, and trying to find that balance is the key, because if you go one way, it's just all consuming, takes up your whole life, but the other way, it's like not as easy to get results. Well, let me break it down for you a little bit more thoroughly and then give you my suggestions for how to find the right balance and what the right answer is. All right, so check this out. To break it down a little bit more, you got option A, which is measuring your food. Maybe it's tracking your calories, tracking your macros, which unfortunately can feel very restrictive because it may be quite different than what you were previously doing for your nutrition, right? And that can end up resulting in you binge eating. But also there's, it's all consuming. It may just take so much of your time and so much of your life and just require so much more than you're used to doing. And so it can be very tough to adopt that. But then on the bright side in blue here is that, well, it's math and it's science and it doesn't lie, right? So it takes the guesswork out of it for you and it works. So that's the positive. As long as we employ things correctly, it does. So that's option A. Option B, though, is like, it's just too much. I don't want to measure everything and track everything, so I'm just going to keep clean, healthy foods in my house and just eat the good, healthy stuff that I've got here and get rid of the bad stuff, right? So that's keeping your environment clean. It's a very great idea to eat good, nutritious foods, and it's not super all-consuming and taking over your life. But on the other hand, it can also restrict what you're eating, and you can feel like, I'm just yearning for ice cream and I haven't had ice cream in weeks because I just don't have any here. So I'm going to go binge and go like all out and have a complete junk food day and go out to, you know, a fair and have like all kinds of fair food or something, right? So it can also result in the binging as a downside to this method. Another downside is we may be misinformed, or we may just be misguided, or we could be mistaken and not actually have healthy foods in the house. For instance, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people saying, I'm relying on these Slim Fast shakes or these Atkins shakes or these like fat bombs and like bulletproof coffee and all this stuff that you've maybe heard of as being a really helpful thing, right? Well, some of these things, yeah, they can work if they're applied correctly, but if they're just thrown into your random diet, it could actually be detrimental to you. So by thinking, all right, I'm gonna have smart cuisines or lean cuisines or whatever those frozen foods are that you find in the frozen food section, forget about it. Smart ones, I think is what they're called. Yeah, like oftentimes people are under the impression because the packaging says it's healthy, it's a clean food. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So oftentimes there's misinformation is what I'm getting at here. So we could be steering ourselves down the wrong path if we're relying on just keeping a healthy, clean environment. All right, so what in the world should I do? How do I find a balance here? Because I don't want to lose my mind with tracking my numbers all the time, and I also don't want to just leave it up to hoping it works by just keeping my environment clean, right? So my answer to that is this. We've got a step-by-step process here. Number one, you do have to decide what your goals are. And while I know this sounds cliche and it sounds like very elementary, but it is actually the most important step, because without it, you can't accurately do steps 2, steps 3, steps 4. You have to know that first, because what you do at step 4 will be completely predicated on what your goals are and what your starting point is. All right, so that does really, really matter. So number 2, in fact, is the starting point. And what do I mean by that? Well, your current weight, what you're currently eating, how many calories you're currently eating, what foods do you like and dislike, What is your current past diet? Your activity level matters a lot. Are you someone who is starting from scratch and you've never exercised before? That's fine, but you need to apply that into your plan that you're going to make. On the other side, if you're an athlete and you've been an athlete for a long time, great, then that's going to mean a whole different thing for what you should be doing. And also, up here you'll see metabolism, up or down. Has your metabolism been raging? You've been burning food like crazy? You can eat a lot of calories? Or is your metabolism slowed down? Those things matter a lot in terms of what your plan looks like. So that's why we need to start here with numbers 1 and 2, and then we go to 3. Set up that plan. So this plan needs to be in line with your goals and in line with your starting point. Because if somebody says, hey, you should eat 1,600 calories, because that's what Joe does down the street, or that's what Linda's trainer said she should do. Well, that might be right for Linda, but is that right for you? Well, we have to assess right here and right here first. Maybe you're starting from different places physically or just simply metabolically. So those things definitely matter in terms of setting up your plan and making sure that it is lined up with 1 and 2. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck. And this is where people get going on a path, and then they're just like, it's not working. If that happens to you or has happened to you, it's likely because we're missing something in steps 1 or 2. Okay, our goals, maybe we're trying to shed body fat, but our calories are just not in the right range they need to be to shed body fat. Well, then it's not going to work. And of course, that's the most obvious solution there. But I want to carry on here. Let's focus on number 4. Number 4 is you want to track your numbers right here. That's this one, but temporarily. Okay? Because once you get the hang of it, it's easy to replicate and replace the foods. You don't have to eat the same foods all the time. You just have to have a good understanding of, here's how I hit my numbers. Now, what foods can I substitute out in this routine that I'm in, right? And then, of course, your numbers, your plan, your numbers, they change over time. So you will have to check back in and readjust those numbers, unless, of course, well, let's be real. If you are making progress, your numbers will change. If you're not making progress, well, then your numbers need to change. So no matter what, they can't always be the way that they are, because either they're not working or they're not going to work for long. So, therefore, we replicate and replace, and then, like I was getting at, we need to reassess. And also, every now and then, it's just good to check back in on your numbers again to see, hey, did I actually, have I been sticking close to the plan, right? So that's why it's good to reassess every now and then, but you do not need to track all the freaking time. You'll lose your mind. I know I can't possibly do that. I can't handle it. I'll track for a couple weeks. I'm good. I got a good little plan going on. Now I just simply deploy what I've been doing and then just trade out some of the foods as long as they are trade worthy, right? So like I can't go and just add a bunch of eggs in place of my vegetable category, or that doesn't work. You want to trade out fat foods for fat foods, and protein foods for protein foods, and good quality carbs for other good quality carbs. All right, so that's my suggestion there. And then there's also a 4B here, which is if you're absolutely 110% opposed to ever tracking your calories or tracking your foods through an app, then there is another method. It's less exact, but that's okay. It is a hand method. So for instance, I'm not going to go through this super thoroughly, but really quickly, like just a sample is like the palm of your hand in diameter and thickness is a reasonable protein serving of protein, right? The fist would be like your serving of carb and veggies. And then, so carbs, veggies, and then you've got your thumb would be a serving of fats. So of course, these serving sizes differ per person and based on what your goals are and based on your starting points. But that's just a method I'm telling you about, rather than actually counting those calories. So each way works well. For each person, it might differ, but what I want to get across to you that I can't stress enough is You need to know your goals, you need to know where you're starting from, and have all these factors figured out, and also you need to set up a plan and then deploy. So that's how it works. Of course, that's what we do, is we help our clients to find out, to first, we hold you accountable for setting goals, and then we identify your starting point for you, because sometimes these things can be a little tricky to assess, and that's cool. We've only been doing this for like 15 years, so we got it down. Plus, my bachelor's degree has equipped me to be able to help you. That's why professionals exist, right? Because we help you with that. And then setting up the plan, of course, and then reassessing and changing it over time. So that's what I suggest you do. Of course, if you need guidance, well, it makes sense. Reach out, find the experts, find the professionals. That's what we do. Okay, so I didn't mean to make this a sales pitch by any means. I'm just telling you that's how we are helpful. All right, cool. So I hope this was educational, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, thanks.